So I want to welcome everybody to 8th season. I think it's our 7th roundup though. So that's amazing. Now this is a little different roundup this year with COVID. We're doing a virtual roundup, which exciting and different. You know, we would much rather prefer to have 300 to 350 people out front, but because it is what it is, we're doing it this way. So welcome. We're going to show you video of what we've been able to do with some of the kids, some of the activities. We're going to show you some video of maybe some of the projects and things we've been able to accomplish this year, which we're really excited about. All the fencing, doubling the size of the arena, obviously our building, which is the structural has been done. Now we're going to get started real soon on the interior, which is the office and the kitchen and some of the meeting space and bathrooms and locker rooms. That we're real excited about all the progress we've been able to make there. So welcome. This should be a fun time. It's going to be different, but I think 2020 has showed us we need to be flexible. And we've done what we feel is the best that we could with the situation we had. And you know, we still had almost 50 kids a week coming out. So even still, it was a challenge, but I think overall we were able to do some really neat things this year.
My name is Jennifer Heath, and I am co-founder and executive program director at Haven Acres. Father, I just want to thank you so much for this beautiful weather and for this amazing day. Thank you for all the kids we've been able to have out this year in spite of all the coronavirus stuff going on. Thank you that you care about us, you care about these horses and the kids, and we just ask for safety, and we ask that this would be a great way of just demonstrating like what we're doing in the community, and that these kids would just feel encouraged and have hope. We just thank you for the privilege of doing this. We know that you have provided for all of it, and we never forget that you are the one that the glory goes to. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, I am Jason Heath. My wife and I actually started Haven Acres almost 8 years ago. So if you want to call me a co-founder, that's what I am. And we started in Burnsville actually. We had about a 6-acre hobby farm there. And we went to a church service, and the pastor was talking about needing a dream only God could do. And my wife on the way home said, "Did you get anything out of that service?" And I'm like, "We're supposed to start a horse ranch." And we were like my wife's a nurse, I was a financial advisor. We didn't know anything about horses. But yet here we are eight years later, actually because of how God worked and just kept doubling the size of our herd and our clientele and our volunteers. Now we're out in Hampton on a 14-acre hobby farm, and again, just continuing to expand, continuing to just see God's blessing over everything we're doing here. What we thought God was just going to use with just horses and kids has turned into, obviously the kids get a lot out of it. But what we have found is that all the volunteers that come out, you know, the horses, the parents, they just get a sense of peace. Even if it's only for 45 minutes to 90 minutes a week, this is where they come to have that haven that's why we call it Haven Acres, is that people can come and just get a little break from life. So that's been one of our major findings over the years, is that it's not just about the kids. It's about everybody who comes here. So we match up a horse, a child, and a mentor. And the goal is to have they work with the same horse, same mentor, same kid throughout the whole summer. So maybe a little unique from other programs, but we want that because we want that relationship to be built. One with the horse, but also with the mentor. And I think, you know, I don't know how many times I've seen kids come out and they go from timid to, by the end of the sessions, their self-esteem has grown because they realize they need to have confidence, and we can show them how to have a loving, trusting, respectful relationship with their horse, and that builds their confidence. But then throughout the summer, we show how God wants to have a loving, trusting, respectful relationship with them through what we call modern day parables. And what we have found is that the kids can relate. A lot of times these horses have been through trauma. They've been through neglect. They've been through situations that haven't been the best. Right now we've got some really great horses, not perfect horses, but some really great horses. But we're not perfect, none of us are. But they all have a story. They all have a reason why they're here. And we've been able to actually use some of the horses like they don't see very well, or they got a blind eye, or their feet aren't the best. But yet, because they're imperfections, that's okay. And I think a lot of times the kids can actually relate to those horses a lot more than the perfect horse. But again, they're horses, they all have their own personalities. You know, they have good days and bad days, but we use those as saying, hey, I have my good days, I have my bad days, right? And I'm sure you do too. And it's amazing that, you know, when a horse isn't necessarily doing exactly what they want to do, and maybe the kid gets a little frustrated, we turn it now. What do you think your parent feels like when they're asking you to do something and you're not doing it, and all of a sudden they go, oh, I understand why my parent gets so frustrated with me. So we take those situations and, again, help those kids somehow relate. But at the same time, it's amazing how God does mesh the right horse with the right kid, with the right mentor. And then you get a lot of these kids, this is their 4th, 5th, 6th year coming back. And now they've really created a really nice relationship with the same mentor throughout the years, and just the bond that they have. And the horses have actually gotten a lot better over the years too. And that's amazing to watch, to see how each relationship develops with the kids.
My name is Holly Graffender. I'm the assistant program director here. So I'm here part-time, year-round, and I work with the kids doing mentorship. I train in volunteers and I train in chore help. I work with the horses. I do a bunch of administrative stuff. I basically help with whatever they need help with all the time, and it's amazing. Every year in the fall, after sessions are done, we have a roundup event where we have all of our students ride to show off what they've been learning all summer, and they can invite their friends, their families, whoever they'd like to come see what they're doing. And at the same time, we also get to reach out to the community and show them what we do and just bring awareness. And then we're also raising funds. So at the roundup, we have all the kids and the teens in the arena riding their horses, but then we also have some food for sale and snacks. Then we also have carnival games for the little kids. We have pony rides at the end. We have a silent auction. We have merchandise for sale. It's a lot of fun. So obstacles is an event where we set up different obstacles throughout the arena. So like we might have some poles that you have to weave, we might have logs you have to step over, we have what we call a pinwheel, which is a circular spool that has a big long PVC pipe on it that the horse has to spin around. We have kind of a V shape where the kids have to ride straight through and then they have to back through, but you'll have to back at a turn, which is kind of hard. It's probably the hardest one. And then we also have a square that they have to spin without stepping outside of the square. We have a little jump that they have to try to walk over without knocking it over, and we have a wooden bridge. So obstacles is really good because it helps them communicate with their horses. They have to work on steering, they have to work on stopping, and they have to work being patient through all the obstacles while they're practicing them all the other times. You know, when they mess up, they have to learn it's okay when they mess up and just try it again. And they're doing these all in different ways with all these obstacles. Our silent auction is up and running, and we have gotten a lot of items donated. It will be running until 6 p.m. today, and then we will be closing it. Usually when you come out to the ranch for the roundup, we have a silent auction that you can actually look through, but this year people were still willing to donate to it. So it would be really awesome if you'd go over and check that stuff out. There's some really neat items that were donated.
Hi, my name is William Shaw, and I'm a parent of one of the children who participate in Haven Acres. We've been participating for 3 years. Some of the things that I like about Haven Acres is that it's out in rural America, and I like that they get to do chores like they were if they had lived on the farm. I found out about Haven Acres through a friend, and she suggested that it was faith-based, something that I was really it was like that my daughter got introduced into God and spirituality. We had a pretty big family crisis about 4 years ago. And she was having a lot of behavioral issues, she was very introverted, turned into herself, but she couldn't get along with other kids. And as she's progressed in the program, she does wonderfully with others now. She's able to interact. Social-wise, you wouldn't even recognize her. It's night and day difference. The thing that I like is that they make it more hands-on and they interact and they teach them a lesson on top of riding the horses, so they learn how to tend to the horses' needs. So she learned a lot about patience. She's learned a lot about tolerance and being fair to others and being respectful to others. What I enjoy about it is I get the chance to watch her grow while she's doing it. I really love the fact that the staff gets you involved and there's opportunities for you to volunteer throughout the year. But the things that I enjoy is to watch my daughter Nevaeh, how she's matured with the program. One thing I can truly honestly say, this has probably been one of the best things I've ever done for my daughter. It's an opportunity that I wouldn't have gotten. I didn't when I grew up. I didn't even know about ranches. I'm an inner city kid, so this is something to watch her do something that I've never done before. It's awesome. So it's uniquely hers. So if you get an opportunity, I would highly recommend Haven Acres program for anyone.
So Water Wars is a relay event, except that there's not teams. So we have buckets on one end of the arena that have water in them, buckets on the other end of the arena that don't have water in them, and the kids are going to get a big squirt gun and they're going to suck the water up at one end, and then they're going to ride down to the other end and squirt the water into the other bucket, and they're timed for 5 minutes. So whoever gets the most water into their bucket at the other end wins. It's tricky because you have to be holding your gun and steering your horse and stopping your horse all at the same time. And when you get down to the bucket, you really have to make sure your horse stands still, because if they keep moving, your water will not all go into the bucket. Then you also want to be efficient and turn around quick so you can keep going and save all the seconds you can. So that's Water Wars.
Many of you know through the newsletter that we received a large estate gift, but because of that gift, we've been able to do a lot of projects. One was replace all the fencing, we got a lot of fencing. So that was a big, big project, but also a big blessing. It keeps our horses really safe now, and it just looks great. We've been able to double the size of our outdoor arena, which I think allows us to be a lot more safe with the kids when we're riding, especially when we go back to normal and can have 9, 10, 11 kids out there at one time. It'll be a lot safer because we won't be so bunched in. And then one of the major projects is the building project, the barn. 60 by 80 pole barn, but inside that we're going to have a 20 by 60 area that's going to be office space, meeting room, kitchen, a couple bathrooms, locker room with a shower. So excited about that, to be able to give our volunteers, just a nice place to come and sit down and just enjoy being out here as well. So, and then that just allows us to be able to separate our home from Haven Acres. And then the storage, the 60 by 60 storage, another nice thing we were able to do this year was we were able to lease 22 acres of land that we were able to produce our own hay. And not this year per se, but moving forward, we should save around $7,000 a year in hay costs from that, being able to do that. But we needed a place to store it. Well, our new building will allow us to not only store all that much hay, but all the equipment, and that will totally be used just for horse facilities. There's a 40 by 80 arena in there, indoor, with 9 stalls in there, and then our tack room. And it'll totally be horse facility versus our catch-all barn right now. We can hardly move in there right now because we have so much stuff in there. So it's going to be so great to be able to clean that up and have a facility just for horses.
So figure eight is an event where we set up 2 barrels and the kids are going to go in a figure eight around them, but we have multiple kids going at once and they have to do it independently. They can't be on a lead rope for this one or it won't work, and they have to be figuring out when they have to stop to let another horse go through, when they have to go and then come around, and if they can go through other horses coming or if they have to wait. It just works a lot on their coordination. It works a lot on them riding and them steering. It's a pretty advanced one for them to work on.
So Max is a Percheron gelding, so he's in the draft horse category. He's actually built to pull a wagon or a cart or a sleigh. And he was at another Christian ranch, and he was part of a team of horses that would take people on sleigh rides. They could carry like 30 people at a time. But he developed an infection in his leg, and I think they had been treating it for maybe 6 months, and they couldn't seem to get it better, and he was still limping on it. And so I have been an emergency room nurse for 20 years, and I'm not working as that anymore, but I've taken a lot of horses that have injuries and things like that. So we took him in knowing that I would be taking some time to get this wound healthy. The vet came out, took all the bad tissue off, and I had to go out and dress it every day for about a year. But he's actually perfectly healthy now. He still has a little bit of a scar there, but he walks totally fine. But he came as a package deal with Zacchaeus, the mini mule. And it's kind of funny, he's become best friends. One's really the smallest in the herd, one's the biggest in the herd, but they came on the same day. And so they quarantined in the barn together, and they just bonded. So they're best friends. They don't like to be separated. But most of the horses here have a story like that, of some kind of either imperfection or injury or something that keeps them from being able to do their original job or their competition type job. But they seem to be able to relate to kids who also have struggles. He's really, really gentle and calm with kids, which makes him really perfect. He's a little bit intimidating, which is actually kind of good because it helps kids learn leadership skills, and it also helps build their confidence, because when they figure out they can move a 1,400-pound animal and get them to do what they're asking them to do, it really kind of steps them up a level in their confidence. So one of the most important parts about running a ranch like this, especially where you have a lot of rescue horses, it's really important to have a good farrier. We have currently 16 horses in the mini mule, and the farrier comes every 6 to 8 weeks to trim their hooves, because they grow just like your fingernails grow. And so he trims them and keeps them balanced, and he looks at how they bear their weight, because there's just joint problems and all kinds of stuff that can happen if you don't have them well balanced. And if your horses don't have good feet, you might as well not have a horse. So someone referred us to Uvaldo, and he has been doing horses his whole life. And he has been a complete answer to prayer and a huge blessing to us. Probably about half to 3/4 of them are barefoot, but he again has to trim them, and we've had horses come to us lame, and if he trims them correctly and figures out how the angles go, then they can still be sound. But if they get shoes on, he first removes the shoes, and he has special tools to do all this. And then he has a knife he uses to trim all the bad parts of the hoof off. And he has a big clipper, clips off the edge of the hooves. And then he has a huge file, which is about 1 foot long, that he files the hoof down to make it really smooth. And then he has to shape the hoof exactly to their foot. And once he puts a couple nails in and has them stand on it, he sees if it's balanced. And if it's not, he redoes it again. I mean, we've had farriers that come out and they're quick and they get it done right away, but then they leave and the horse is sore, and he takes his time. He only puts a couple nails in, he puts their feet down, he looks at it, makes sure they're standing right and that all 4 are balanced, and then he puts another couple nails in to hold it in place. But we have a lot of horses, have a lot of good life left in them, but they just need a little extra care. So our farrier is a really important part of our team. He's behind the scenes, so a lot of people don't see him. But he's really, really important, and I hope he lives to be 100.
So Egg and Spoon is an event where each of the kids get a spoon and they get an egg. And the egg was actually, fun fact, laid here at the ranch because we have chickens. And so they'll get this egg in their spoon, and they have to walk around the arena and try not to drop it while they're doing obstacles or while they're turning, or we even had some of them switch hands that the spoon was in. So it really is working on their balance. It's pretty tricky not to drop it, and especially you cannot be holding it over here, because then if you drop it, you'll end up sitting on it. So they have to work on holding it out, and some of them had to work on steering and everything all at the same time.
So Journey is an Appaloosa. We just got him in October. And it was kind of a sad story. He used to be some sort of a camp or lesson horse when he was younger. He's probably about 20 years old now. But he was donated to another ranch, and I don't think they had quite as much experience with horses. And somehow he wasn't getting enough feed, but he lost a lot of weight. So word got back to the ranch that had donated him, and so they kind of stepped in and rescued him last fall. But by the time they rescued him, he was probably 200 or 300 pounds underweight. And in addition to that, they didn't realize that some horses, even if you look at Zacchaeus, whose hair is white, his skin is gray. So actually around his eyes, you can see that it's black, but on Journey, his skin is pink, and so it sunburns. And so he has pink areas on his nose that sunburn, he has pink areas around his eyes and other sensitive places. So we keep him almost completely covered. So when he was rescued, his eyes were covered in scabs from sunburn, and it actually damaged his eyes. So he has some blindness, and we're not exactly sure how much. So anyway, the ranch that rescued him was not able to keep him because they were already full. And they're a ranch that we worked closely with, and so they just contacted us and said, is there any way you can take him? So we came and picked him up last October. And he looks beautiful now, but he's very nervous and anxious, and we haven't really been able to use him with kids much because he hears what's going on around him, but he can't really see in the periphery very much. And so then he kind of dances around and is always like, see what was behind him. But not every horse we have is actually able to be used with kids, but our mission is to rescue horses and to pair them with kids that also need additional support and to demonstrate God's love. But he has a forever home here because we don't want him to get put in that position again. But he still could have a lot of good days. He also has a best friend named Bo, and since he's so low on the pecking order, and he's afraid, really, when we introduced him to the other horses. It was very interesting. Bo actually stepped between him and the other horses. Anytime he was wandering around in there and he got too close to the other horses, Bo would step between him and the other horses and protect him, and we've never seen that happen in our herd before. So that was really interesting, and now they're in the same paddock with a couple of other horses. But it's interesting to see the horses build relationships and support each other, just like we build relationships and support each other. So I think he's happy being here, but he's had a little bit of a rough road.
My name is Ashalen Apoki, and I go by Ash. I'm a mom to 5 little ones. My oldest, Hannah, she is part of Heaven Acres. So she's having a session right now. We heard about Heaven Acres from church, and she's been having an amazing time since she started. She was diagnosed with special needs 6 years ago, and being at Heaven Acres has helped her to gain confidence, has helped her emotionally, and to grow and mature as a person. She has accomplished so many things that she wasn't able to accomplish before. Seeing her developing her sense of independence has been really amazing. In her development has been great, not just when I see her here at the ranch, but even at home. I see everything that she's learned, how she learned to care for her horse, and how she learns to listen, to pay attention, to learn new things. Those things really hit me in my heart, and to all of us in our family. For everyone who is thinking about signing up at this mentorship program, I will tell you, you do not know how amazing the program is. You may think you're just coming because your child likes horses or because your child needs a mentorship, but the whole impact that this program has on the child is beyond what I can explain, beyond what I thought. I think you'll be greatly surprised by how positive of an impact this program has on a child, on the confidence. I mean, that's amazing. Emotional, spiritual, and also as a person, as a whole. I wouldn't waste any time if you're thinking about it. Just do it. It is really incredible to see your child grow.
So 4 in a Line is a fun event that they actually do at the county fair, and there's 6 barrels in the arena set up kind of in a cross shape, and you'll weave through the first 3 and then you go around the outside and then you'll weave back through, and it's a timed event. So when you do it like at the county fair, there'll be 4 people and they'll be going as fast as you can. Whatever team gets through the fastest wins. But we're all practicing it right now, so most of us are at a walk, some of us are at a trot. So all 4, or sometimes it was 5 or something, kids and their horses will be weaving and going around, and they'll come back and they'll see how quickly they can do that with their horses. So our Deaf and Hard of Hearing program is a really special program where we have students who are deaf or they're hard of hearing or they're going deaf, just they have hearing differences, and we pair them with mentors who are deaf or who are ASL interpreters. We do the same regular program with them where we do chores and we do Bible lessons and we do horse time, but it's just with kids and mentors who either have hearing differences or ASL interpreters. If you are interested in volunteering at Haven Acres, we have a link on the website, and if you go down, it will describe all the different kind of volunteer opportunities, and at the bottom there's a link to send us an application. If you would like to donate, you can also go to our website, and we have a donate page which has like a link for PayPal, or you can send us a check, or we have opportunities to sponsor a horse where you get a quarterly update on your horse and opportunities to visit your horse and a professional picture of your horse. So there's lots of ways to do that. Also, if you would like to register for the program, we are open for kids 9 to 17. We will be posting that registration is open in the spring on social media and on our website. There will be a link on the website for the application when that's open. It won't be open until the spring though. The silent auction is still up and running. It will only be open till 6 though. Make sure you head over there and make your bids before then. We have some really nice items like gift cards, baskets, pet toys, a bunch of different stuff. But it will only open till 6. Make sure you head over there and check that out. Thanks so much for watching the roundup this year. Thank you so much to the participants for being willing to ride in this and show off all the skills that you've learned. Thank you so much for parents for bringing your wonderful students out. Thank you volunteers for all the hours that you've done this year. And thank you all of you who have watched and supported us. We really, really appreciate you guys, and we hope to see you in person at the roundup next year.